Test is Thursday, 9 questions worth 50 points. This is right in that back page of your notes. Turn in to where it says this is what is on the test. Okay? Next, on the poster over here, it says you need to be able to explain. So if you write this down for your first thing, I can explain the theorem. So we're talking about the Pythagorean theorem. In your notes, it's that last page where you're writing this.
What'd you say?
Okay? So this is the page that you're writing on right now. Right? So write down the standard. I can explain the theorem. Right? So this is the first one that you're putting in that first box. I can explain the theorem. Some of you still haven't written that. In that first box, I can explain the theorem. There's some pens right here you might need to use from there. Okay? When we are looking at this, this is, when I look at that, this is 12 points, 1 question. This is the 9A. This is, when I look at, yesterday I put it on the daily planner, the 3 ways to explain. This is one of the ways. Oh, given dot paper and a right triangle, I can draw the squares, count the area of each one, and I know that 4 plus 4 is 8. You will find the area of the small squares plus the area of the medium square, side B, and that is the same area as the large one C. So since 4 plus 4 is 8, that proves that A squared plus B squared, that's one method, right? What was the one that we did last Friday? Given the frame and right triangles, arrange the triangles in the frames so that the small and the medium square and 4 triangles fit. And then in the same frame, you have 4 triangles and you have the large square. Since the frames are the same area and the same 4 right triangles are used, that proves that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And you'd want to draw the pictures with it, okay? The first method is the one where we did when we cut apart. Given the perfect squares whose areas of a right triangle, the small square is side A, the medium square is B, the large one is C. And you might have said, oh, this is 2, this is 3, this one has to be 4 plus 9 has to be 13. So you could actually use numbers in there when you do that, okay? And you would explain that. So that is 12 points of your test. I have some people that have yet to write it yet. They've yet to do 9A. They haven't written it out once. I would recommend doing it 3, 4, 5 times. You want to get this down. It's 12 out of the 50 points, the explanation. And as you look at 9A, we're going to look at that in just a minute. Make sure you're understanding. The second box down on this page for where it's on your test, I can use the theorem to find the missing side. Okay? So when you look at the poster over here, I can use the theorem to find the missing side. This is what goes in that second box down. Okay? I can use the theorem to find the missing side. What are we talking about here? Well, this is where you have, you're going to have, like I might tell you, A, this is A equals, and this is what B is equal to, and find C. It might be, oh, you have to find the perimeter of this shape, right? In that, you would need to use the Pythagorean theorem to find this side and this side, okay? So there's 20 points, 5 questions. The next thing on the poster says, I can use the converse theorem. And what I mean by the converse theorem is that you need to be able to explain to me if it's a right triangle, obtuse, or acute. And we did find, by the way, that on 9B, you'll notice that over here on the sideboard, 9B, number 12, the answer in the back was wrong. It should be acute. Okay, so someone pointed that out this morning, and I looked at mine, and I had acute also. It says obtuse in the back. So 9B, number 12, that's wrong. So I can use the converse. This is what you're going to be asked to do. You're going to have to explain. going to say. Given three lengths of a triangle, explain how you know it is a right triangle, obtuse, or acute. Give examples. So we have 2 explain problems worth 20 points. That is 40% of your test. That's almost half of your test where you're explaining in words. Okay? That means sentences. That means showing me what you understand. So when you look at, this is that 9B that we were looking at, I am not going to give you 3 numbers and say, is it right? Is it obtuse? Or is it acute, like on 9B? The problem's just going to say, if you have 3 lengths of a triangle, how do you know if it's right, obtuse, or acute? And so you're going to write me a sentence saying something like, well, I know if a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared, it's a right triangle. But if I know that a squared plus b squared is less than c squared, and then you might give me an example of some numbers, right? And you're not giving me the areas, you're giving me the side length. So you're telling me like, oh, if A happens to be this number, and B happens to be this number, and C happens to be this number, it would be an acute triangle, because a squared plus b squared is greater, or it is less, okay? The last thing on the poster up here says, I can use the theorem to find distances on a coordinate plane. Now, this is where, when I look at yours, and I am looking at the B7 that you did, and this is where, when I look at B7, some of you didn't really draw your points correctly. This is finding the perimeter. This is finding the height of the pole. This is plotting the points correctly. And what I put was B7. There's going to be 2 questions on the test, a total of 10 points. So each one is 5 points each. Some of you are getting mixed up on how to plot points. Like, you forgot that you have to always start at the origin. And from the origin, you're going to go, if it's positive to the right for the first point and the second one is negative, you go down. So if you're struggling, and I put some notes on the papers that I'm handing back today, take a look at this and make sure you're understanding, okay? This I will be attaching to the daily planner so that if you are like, I'm not sure what's on the test or how to study, this will be up there. We are not taking your test tomorrow, which means today you have the rest of the time to work on 8B, the 9A, the 9B, or the 10. I had a couple people say to me, hey, Mrs. Thompson, I finished everything, can I turn it in? And I looked at theirs and I said, okay, so did you check every answer as you did it? Well, no, I was gonna, did you put your work someplace? Oh, I had another sheet of paper. No, do the work right by the problems. If you're doing it on another sheet, like staple it in right away. I'll get your question in just 1 minute. So that's what's on the test. On the back of this notes, turn over this notes. This back page outside the proficiency scales. I'm looking at you being at the 8th grade. That means you should be able to do everything below it. Cassidy, would you please read standard G6, I can explain, the 8th grade learning target?
You mean under 8th grade?
Yep, so go to the number 3. You don't have to worry about the high school one, right?
Right.
Okay.
I can explain what the
Pythagorean.
Pythagorean theorem means. Can I just give the formula? I can explain one way to prove that the
Pythagorean.
theorem works for all right angles, triangles.
So everything below that you should be able to do. That's what your goal is for getting ready for the test, okay? Alan, would you read standard G7 for the 8th grade one?
I can find the unknown side lengths of a right triangle with 3-dimensional real-world application.
And the second part?
I can find the unknown side lengths of a right triangle with 2-dimensional real-world application.
So 2 and 3D, right? What's the 3D? Those are the boxes, right? You have to be able to do it on a box. You have to be able to do it. You will have one on the test. You have to do it on the 2D, like with the perimeter, right? So you have to find it and then apply it, okay? standard G6, if you're looking at that one. Remember what you read the 8th grade standard? The converse. So, that's really the main thing. Just knowing it isn't going to help you. You got to be able to apply it. And when we look at that, that's kind of on page 13 is where in your notes is where you might want to look. And then that last one, I can find the distances. I can find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate plane. So, you should look through this tonight. If you can't do some of these things, I'm going to be in here tonight after school. I'm going to be here tomorrow morning. Wednesday night I have meetings after school. Test is Thursday. Okay? So, yesterday you were working on 8B. Any questions on any of these as you started 8B that I could answer? You are adding all of the sides up to find the perimeter. Question 3 and question 6, you're adding the side length and the C to get your height. You will see, so this one, if you have not done 9A yet and practiced writing it, go to your device and look at those 3 different ways that I put down and pick one of them and try and do that to explain. But on 10 or 9B, I had some people doing, these are the ones where it talks about when is it acute, obtuse, and right. This is page 13 in your notes. That's where it tells you that. When you do a question like number 7, I need both right triangles drawn. Same thing in number 11. Number 11 is a box problem. Number 11 is saying, oh, how far is it from, if I'm looking at this, from this point right here to this point. This is looking at the 2 right triangles. So you need to be careful how you draw those and how you look at it. The time in class is used for your work. Your 2 right triangles with the box problem. You will definitely see a box problem. That's why when I put down the ones that I really needed you to do, the perimeter, the height of the pole, the box problem. There's a ton of other applications, but those are going to be the ones most similar to the ones you'll see on the test. Okay? So, use your time today. If you have questions, please ask.